Welcome back to Alliance Wars Season 39, War 7, for Loki are facing the War Champs GT40. All right, I broke my promise to you, my dear audience, in an earlier video about bringing Corvus to war. This war, I'm going to be bringing Titania. I'll explain why later, but let me go ahead and take her up to rank 4. We'll just edit it up, and boom, there she is, rank 4, level 55 or 65 or whatever. And now let's go ahead and make sure that she's also SIG 200, so that way we fulfill the second part of my promise, and boom, there she is, SIG 200. Okay, so back to keeping my vow. All right, I'm on path 2A. It's the placebo path. The first fight we have here is a Rintra. Common placement for Rintra on node 5. Number 1, because it's the placebo path, and number 2 is because of the interaction of nodes as well as Rintra's kit. This node has a, as you can see right there, decrease stun timer. Each parry is going to have less time to respond, which makes it hard to parry heavy Rintra. It makes it really easy to parry yourself, though. But it's really hard to parry heavy Rintra, and you want to do that because you want to keep his mystic charges down. The mystic charges are the number on the right side underneath his health bar. And so in this fight, I really started off doing a very, very poor job of understanding what I needed to do. There are reasons for that we don't need to get into, but I just don't do this right. I'm not here. She's in her haymaker phase, and I'm not taking advantage. This is my first time using Titania in war. I haven't really practiced with her at all. I knew that she would be very safe for this fight, even as I eat the special one, because, again, on the reduced parry stun timer, I do it to myself again, and I'm just not playing it well. And I'm going to have to alter my strategy to just counter heavy or counter special. Her special 3 is where she does her max damage because of all those buffs. You really want to get the defender in the corner and then throw a couple heavies while you have the haymaker unblockable and unstoppable effects going. This is GT40. They're going to place with max stand your ground, so one of the heavies gets resisted, the other one doesn't. I think the timer's only long enough really to allow for 2 safe heavies, especially with Rintra being over 2 bars of power, so that's just where I left it. So once I stopped, really being an idiot and doing this fight correctly, it's a pretty safe fight. I'm managing his mystical charges. I'm going to get him down. So that's fine. You will notice there are a couple times where Rintra does gain the power here. That's just because of the same interaction between neutralize and dexterity that we've seen and talked about when Miguel takes this fight with dex turned on. So that's why that's happening, even though she doesn't gain buffs. And that's the advantage to having her over Miguel in this fight, is because she has all of her kit available without any synergies. Miguel needs the anti-venom. And the way the GT40 is structuring their defense is that they're splitting paths, right? So they're going to stick a Rintra on fight 5, and they'll put a Killmonger on fight 14, because ideally those are different types of champs that you want. For Killmonger, you're generally going to have a cosmic champ, right? Someone that can armor break in order to get rid of his reverb, but you don't want to use a cosmic champ against Rintra. Alternatively, you want to use a science champ like a Titania, like a Miguel, against Rintra, but you don't want to use a science champ here against Killmonger. So this is just smart tier 1 level defensive placement, and you see that all over their defensive map. So now we're moving in the second section, 2B. We have a Longshot here. I've now gotten a little bit of practice in with Titania because of the Rintra fight, and this is just a much easier fight. It's just pushing Longshot over a bar of power, and then either blocking or dexing the SB1, and I'll never have to worry about any danger. So the second fight on this path is a Domino. You could do that fight, with a Miguel, but it is a dangerous fight. It's very, very simple just to bring, to have a direct counter. And my last fight this war is Void on 49. Taken Void on 22 with Ultron. So it's just sort of a nice synergy. Let me bring Titania. She can do 2 fights. Let me bring CGR. He can do 1 fight. And then I can bring Ultron and do another 2 fights, and everything just works out perfectly. So that's why no Miguel this war, and we went with Titania, because, as much as 4 Loki cheats and, with Kabam, to optimize everything to fall in our favor, we still haven't convinced them to allow us to bring 4 champs to war. So with 3 champs, sometimes I'm going to be picking Titania over Miguel just for that extra roster spot. But yeah, we can see that she's absolutely going to be rinsing this Longshot. Just get one more special out this dude, and then we can finish the fight. I mean, I'm just taking this stuff on block because I really don't have to worry about the block proficiency here at all. Alrighty. Okay, so the next fight is Domino. Node 41, I want to say. And this is always the tricky node for war planning because it's got EMP mod. The benefit of Ultron here is that a SIG ability is going to reduce all shock effects. So I'm going to have a bunch of shocks placed on me, but they're going to do essentially no damage because my guy's SIG 200. The other advantage of Ultron here is that because his functions cannot be messed with, the ability accuracy of his functions are immune. Well, his functions are immune to ability accuracy reduction, which means that all of Domino's nonsense with the crit failures aren't going to apply to his healing, his evades, any of that good stuff, a lot of his kit. So that just means less damage. I'm taking the fight, and he gets through the fight clean. All right, so as I mentioned before, the fifth fight that I had this particular war is this Void here on 49. This is the hazard shift. Poison, Incinerate, and the fight strategy is really no different than when I fought Void on node 22, the Incinerate shock node, or earlier in the map. The only real tangible difference here is that this Void is going to be stun immune, which just makes it hard to get the heavy out. But other than that, this is a fight that I've now done multiple times, and I feel like I have the rhythm down pretty well. I know that my Ultron at rank 4, SIG 200 is more than beefy enough as long as I don't screw up. And in this particular fight, I don't screw up. So, yeah, that's what I want to say about this fight. GT40 beat us in war. You know, they beat us 7-2. That's to be expected. GT40 is the best war alliance in the world. They've proven that time and time again. So, yeah, I mean, I can't say anything about it. I just don't think that they're particularly nice guys. I think they're particularly cocky, arrogant, and obnoxious. They're a bunch of trolls and jerks, and they do a lot of things that are purely designed to flex their own egos by the fact that they're the best war alliance in the world. And that's not true of all their members, but it is certainly true for a large segment of their vocal members and chats. And so it's really easy to appreciate their skill because they are extremely skilled and talented, while at the same time disliking them immensely because they could be a bunch of fucking assholes. And so maybe when they grow up, they'll mature a little bit. I don't know. We'll find out in the next life, Jack.